Okay, so welcome third grade students. This is our very first flipped lesson, and this lesson is on elapsed time. So I'm going to go ahead and have a seat so hopefully you can see everything I'm working on and be able to hear me clearly. Okay, so elapsed time, by the end of this lesson you will have a better understanding of what elapsed time is all about. So let's talk about the real definition of elapsed time. It's the total amount of time that passes from the beginning time to the end time. And we're going to talk a little bit about an interval. So an interval is really a space between numbers. And we usually see intervals on a number line. So we'll work on that as well. So let's practice a little bit. Let's say that a friend and I go to the movies and the movies start at 1 o'clock. That would be known as my beginning time. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. The beginning time is 1 o'clock. The movies will end at 2:35. So if the movie ends at 2:35 and it begins at 1 o'clock, I can find out the elapsed time. I can use a clock to kind of help me. I'll just need to set it on 1 o'clock to start out. I don't have to use a clock, but this might help just to model. It's another way. So 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock might be a way that you use the clock to model, and that's going to be 1 hour. And I'm just going to write that down, okay? So from 1 to 2 is 1 hour, but the movies didn't end at 2 o'clock. They ended at 2:35. So I need to add 35 more minutes onto this to figure out the elapsed time. So I can count in 5-minute intervals, okay? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Now my clock is on 2:35, the time that we got out of the movies. So I need to add 35 minutes onto my 1 hour. So the total elapsed time I can figure out from using the clock and just using my brain is that the total elapsed time is 1 hour and 35 minutes. 1 hour, 35 minutes. Okay? So that was one example using a clock. You may not need to use that. Another thing you can do, of course, a lot of people wear watches or there's a clock in your classroom. You could use that to help you get an idea of the time that has passed or the elapsed time. But also, we're going to look at a timeline, or I should say a number line. Sometimes you will see a timeline, and that may be more so in social studies, and it may show periods of time that have passed, but that may be in increments of 10 years or 100 years. So 10 years a decade, 100 years a century. You may see that more on a timeline. We're going to work on a number line in a bit. Let's do another example. This example is going to be a friend and I went for a walk. And let's say our walk started at 7 o'clock. And our walk ends at 9:20. Okay, that was a pretty long walk. You know, sometimes walks may just take 5-10 minutes. This is a pretty good, healthy walk. So if we started at 7 and we ended at 9:20, I have my beginning time or start time, and I have my end time. I just need to find out the amount of time that passed, which is my elapsed time. So let's count from 7 to 8, that's 1 hour. Okay, from 7 to 8 is 1 hour. So I'm going to think, well, what about from 8 to 9? We definitely went from 8 to 9. So from 8 to 9, that's another hour. Okay, so now I'm at 2 hours. Then we went from 9 to 9:20. So that's not a whole hour. I have to think about different increments or intervals. So that would be an extra 20 minutes. I could count 5, 10, 15, 20 to get to 9:20. But I know from 9 to 9:20 would be 20 minutes that has passed. So I need to add 20 minutes. So the total would be 2 hours, because that hour plus that hour would be 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, I don't know if you can see all that, but I'm sure you can hear me. and you're working this out in your mind with me. So 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's how long it would take if we started at 7 and we ended at 9:20. All right, let's try one more. This will be our last one, and we're going to try to think about how we could use a number line, okay? So we definitely need to think about this word, intervals, in a minute, okay? So let's look at another example. This one might be a little bit longer, okay? Let's try 1 o'clock, okay? 1 o'clock. Let's say my friend and I, we went to the mall. We went to the mall and we went at 1 o'clock. And I think that we probably didn't get picked up from the mall until about 4:30. I want you to make a prediction right now. How much time do you think passed from 1 o'clock to 4:30? I have my start time, or my beginning time, and my end time. How much time has passed from 1 o'clock to 4:30? I want you to lock in your prediction. Now I want you to think about how we could actually put this on a number line. Okay, there's different ways we could go about that. So 1 o'clock to 4:30. Remember that a number line is only a piece or a segment of a larger number line. Remember, numbers go on to infinity and beyond, and that's a real statement with numbers. Infinity, forever, and it can go in both directions, both negative and positive. So we're just going to pull out a piece of a number line to work out elapsed time from 1 o'clock to 4:30. So we could do this different ways. Okay? Let's try this. Let's say that this is going to be an increment of 60 minutes or an hour. I can break up that hour into 60 different little lines, but that would take me a long time to start my first hour. I could also break it up into 5 minutes or even 15 minutes. But I need to know if my intervals are going to be 15 minutes, how many 15 minutes would be in an hour? 4. I think 4 15 minutes would be in an hour, because you've heard, oh, it's a quarter past 9, that would mean 9:15. Or it's a quarter till 10, that would be 15 minutes until 10, so that would be 9:45. So I'm going to break up my hours into 15-minute increments or intervals. Okay, so let's say this is going to be 1 o'clock because that's our beginning time. Okay, and this is going to be 2 o'clock. Now, I'm not going to make it all the way to 4:30 yet. I'm starting off slowly with my number line and getting it really right. I have to get it the right way. So 1 to 1:15. 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, and then 2 o'clock would be here. Now you see this line I made a little bit longer, almost like on a ruler, because I want you to see that that is the 2 o'clock mark. So then I'm going to do the same thing here. This is going to be 2:15, 2:30, and 2:45. This one is going to be 3 o'clock. So this interval will be the 3 o'clock. So then we're going to do 3:15, 3:30, 3:45, 4 o'clock. Okay, I need to keep going a little bit, and that's okay if I didn't make my number line long enough. So that's 4 o'clock. Then we're going to do 4:15, 4:30. Okay, what did you notice there? I counted in 15-minute intervals. I started at 1 o'clock and I ended at 4:30. Again, I'm counting in 15-minute intervals. So how much time has passed from 1 o'clock to 4:30? Let's see, that's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and 30 minutes. So 3 hours and 30 minutes. So that will conclude our lesson on elapsed time, and we'll talk more about it next time. Thanks, guys.